right, today's lesson is the proportional unit, lesson 6, solving proportions. Here's the homework that goes along with it. All right, I'm going to do a couple warm-up problems. So pause your video and do this problem. Okay, Rosa made a graph of the number of miles she drove Y for the number of hours she drove X. The graph is a straight line through the origin at the point 130. Which statement must be true? So, Y is hours. I'm reading it wrong. The miles is Y. This is miles. And the hours are X. Which statement must be true? Well, this is the point 130. Okay? The line passes through the origin and is straight. So we know it's proportional. A proportional graph is related this way. Y equals Kx. We know that K is Y over X. We also know that when X is 1, K is the Y value. So this is 30 miles per hour. Rosa drove 30 miles per hour. Do this one. Go ahead and pause it again. Wanda is making cakes for a bake sale. The number of cups sugar she uses is proportional to the number of cakes she makes. So, the sugar to the cakes. Wanda has 5 cups of sugar for 4 cakes. So, let's rewrite it. The number of cups of sugar is proportional to the cake. So, the sugar to the number of cakes. They told us that that's proportional. So that's K. So K is how many cups of sugar? 4 cups of sugar? I'm sorry, I wrote that wrong. 5 cups of sugar for every 4 cakes. And the sugar, what variable are they using? Between N, the number of cups of sugar, and C, the cakes. Now remember, this is Y. K equals Y over X. So that's Y over X. So N equals 5 fourths C, which is, I would have kept it written as 5 fourths, but 5 fourths is 1 and 1 fourth. All right, today we are going to talk about solving proportions. A proportion is an equation stating that 2 ratios are equivalent. So 6/8 is the same as 3/4. That is a proportion, a fraction equal to a fraction. And to solve these, you cross multiply. So I'm going to find these examples down at the bottom. Solve these proportions. X over 4 is the same as 9/10. We're going to cross multiply. That means one numerator times the other denominator. 10 times x is 10x equals 9 times 4, 36. Finish solving this by dividing both sides by 10. So x is 3.6. To solve a proportion, you cross multiply. Let's try this one. 3 times n is 3n. 7 times 21 is 147. Divide both sides by 3, and you end up with n is 49. All right, let's take a look at some examples. If the ratio of O-type to non-O-type donors at a blood drive was 37 to 43, how many donors would be type O out of 300? So, we want type O out of 300. So, type O, this is type O, this is non-type O. Type O is 37. Out of, how many is this? 80. So, 37 out of 80 is the same as, we don't know, out of 300. Part over whole equals part over whole. This is to this as this is to this. So we set up our proportion, both sides have to be the same center. Type O over total. Type O over total. Now, how do we solve this? Cross multiply. 80 times T is 80T. 37 times 300 is 11,100. Divide both sides by 80, and we get T is 138.75. So 138 type O donors. Because we don't have enough for 139. We can't round up. We don't have enough. All right. The ratio of 7th grade students to 8th grade students in a soccer league is 17 to 23. So this is 7th to 8th. And I'm writing that so I can keep that straight. If there are 200 students in all, how many are in 7th grade? Well, so 17 on the team are 7th grade, and 23 are 8th. So 17 out of, what's the total here? 40. 17 out of 40 are 7th grade. That is 7th graders to total. That's what I call a cheater fraction. 7th graders to total. We want to know how many 7th graders X out of total 200. 7 to total. 7 to total. Cross multiply. I want 40X equals 3,400. Divide both sides by 40, and I get X is 85. So 85 7th graders. All right. Okay. Now, we need to review something that we already know. We know that if something is proportional, y equals kx. K is y over x. That's a constant of proportionality. It is also the unit rate. Okay. So, you can write an equation using unit rate. Let's look at this example. JC bought 8 gallons of gas for $31.12. Write an equation relating the cost C to the number of gallons of gas. How much would JC pay for 11 gallons at this same rate? So, cost in dollars, gasoline. Let's remember, K is y over x. And they're telling us that the cost, they want us to use C, and the gallons of gas, G. And I'm writing this here so I can keep track of which one goes where. Now, our cost is $31.12 for 8 gallons. If you divide that, that's $3.89 per gallon. That's our unit rate. That is K. So our equation, Y, which is C, equals K, which we found to be $3.89 per gallon. Now, does this make sense? It's $3.89 per gallon. So if I have 2 gallons, I multiply $3.89 times 2, and that gives me my cost. Olivia typed 2 pages in 15 minutes. Write an equation relating the number of minutes to the number of pages typed. So they want to do minutes to pages. And what did she say? Minutes is M, pages is P. And again, let's write K equals Y over X. So, how many minutes? 15 minutes for 2 pages. If you divide that, you will get 7.5 pages per minute. So, what will my equation be? Our equation is Y equals KX. What is our Y value? Right here. Our Y value is M equals, that's the minutes, 7.5, because that's what we found K to be, times the pages.